in, man.
Hi.
Good to see you. Hey, good to see you.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for coming over.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Hey, you know what? The reason I was asking you over is because I was heading out on holidays in the next little while, and I've heard so many stories about people having issues while they're away.
Yes.
I was hoping you could kind of show me around to see some of the things I could do to have the house ready.
Yes,
Right.
it's a good thing to do while you're away on vacation. I've seen lots of flooding and accidents that happen when people are away and they come back to a disaster, or their holidays are short because of the accidents.
Yeah, I don't want that call while I'm away. I'm sure you've had a story or two, right?
Oh yes, yeah, several where the pipes have let go underneath the kitchen sinks and the water runs for 2 or 3 days while they're away.
While they're away.
And not only is all damaged, but they also get charged for the water bill too. For $700 or $800.
Right, because it's running constantly.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So,
all right. Well, come on in, man. Let's take a look around and see what's what. Yeah.
Okay, this
Probably
is
this
the
room
room.
here somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's sometimes very difficult to get at. It's behind the wash machine.
Yeah. I'll just maybe haul this away here, but
it can be reached. Not too difficulties.
Right.
But as you can see, it's way back here, and it's closer to the bottom there, and it's very hard to get off, to turn off. I would recommend something easier up top here.
Right.
You also have, I see you have underground sprinklers here for
Yeah,
watering.
That's what that is.
So if a valve was installed here, then we could leave the water to the outside on. Very seldom are you ever going to have a leak from the meter. It's the toilets that are going to break.
Right.
Something like the rubber supply tubes or something on the taps that are going to break. It's not usually the meter and stuff, but we never see meters breaking unless they freeze.
Unless they freeze, okay.
But most times what we see is supply tubes or toilets that crack or something that runs, and that's what causes all the problems.
All the damage over the time.
So
if I am leaving for a couple of weeks now, and then I'm sort of heading out, but I still want someone to water my grass or to have my underground sprinkler system work, you're saying I could move the shutoff to the main house a little higher, still have the water supplying the underground sprinkler or the outside in that regard, and then I could still shut off the house, so then I wouldn't have any issues in the house.
In the house, yes, and plus it makes it a lot easier to identify the valve up here, and it's easier to turn on and off.
Right, just for an accessibility. On a normal house, where they don't have an underground sprinkler system, now if I shut off my main water, my outside taps would also have no water, right?
That's right.
Is there a way of setting it up so that my outside taps might have water, but the inside doesn't?
There is a way. It's a little bit more expensive to run. What we do is usually run a white tubing like this to each fixture, and in the newer homes they have each fixture coming back to a header, but in the older homes you would basically have to run
a separate line for each. Or you could run one line and know that one line has water, and then use a longer hose or an extension of hose to have someone water the outside. And so that would be the alternative versus if they didn't have underground sprinkler system type of thing in their home. Or
they could go to the individual fixtures underneath there. A lot of times the fixtures like your toilets, they're the ones that break, and your kitchen sink and basins. You could turn those off individually, but it's a lot more work.
Right, so an alternative is that we would go to, instead of doing the main shutoff, you're suggesting that another alternative, if I want the water going outside, we could either run a line to a fixture outside, or you go to the individual fixtures throughout the house and shut them all off.
Yes.
But there'll still be water in the line supplying it, but the shutoff would be at the sink or at the toilet, as the case might be.
And sometimes there is a pinhole in the copper lines, and it could leak. very seldom does that happen, but it does happen. We come across it all the time. So it's not the best is to be able to shut it off here
at the main line. Right. So the way this would work, if I did my shut off here, so I'm heading out of town, I do the shut off. What would be the next thing I would do in terms of having the house ready? So I'll do the shut off, and then what would be the next step?
Well, everything, once your water shut off, you don't have to worry about anything inside the house. The next thing would be for downpours and for sudden downpours of water, making sure your outside spouts are away from the house. They're all put down. If they have, you want them at least 4 feet away from the house.
Right. Okay.
For in case of heavy rainfalls.
Right. So if I'm a way to prevent flooding in my house, because sometimes we have like crazy rains in the summertime and so on. So you're suggesting with heavy rains, just make sure that I walk around the house to make sure that those downspouts are away from the foundation and not falling right against the against the foundation.
We get a lot of calls in the base or for flooding in the basement in the summertime, and what happens is the downspout drains right beside the house, and it goes straight down into the footing and up to the floor there, and it's wet.
And it's wet, right. So that would be one of the major concerns. I'm away. Is there anything I could do just to make sure that there isn't any crazy bad odors coming back into the house? Because we're not using the toilets and not using the plumbing all that much. Would there be, or is that duration of time not sufficient to create bad odors coming back into the home?
Yeah, if you're gone for 2 weeks or even a month, you won't get that much odor coming from most of the floor drains or basins or bathtub like that. Most times the water's is flushed, and it takes months for it to get to bad odor. You get a bad odor from there. But if you do have an odor from it, a little bit of bleach just into the drain.
Okay.
If it's a floor drain, what you want to do is kill all the bacteria in it. So you can put bleach in it, but what I usually do is I take lots of times I'll take the floor drain cover off and I'll scrub it with my toilet brush with some bleach.
Okay.
And that will get the whole drain clean.
Okay.
And then I flush it with cold water, not hot water, but cold water.
Okay.
And then just put another little bit of bleach in it.
Right.
And that will stop it from smelling anything.
All right.
But most times, if any of your basins or anything, you can put a little bit of bleach in them or fill them up with right to the top and use the overflow to flush the system out. And just let it run for 15-20 minutes, and just let the water flow through the drain, like overflow drain, and that'll clean a lot of it out.
Okay, that's awesome. Listen, I appreciate you coming by and pointing out this stuff. Thanks very much, my friend.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, thank you.